Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Jez7780 with What Grinds My Gears. I think it's episode 37. I think it is. But we're going to do keyboards, controllers, and mice. Oh my. So, just want to get into this, and I'm not going to take long. This is a real quick one. You're in for a bonus week. A lot of it I kind of described at the end of my long show that I had before about the Inside Xbox and OX and stuff. And I know I brought up some of my concerns last night on playing Xbox, and I thought just to share some of the things that I see. And this is, I just want to give a little preface to this: is that I'm not going to criticize people on their preference. Choices are great. When I do these things, I'm just going on how I react and what kind of gets my opinion on the things that I see. And you might think that I'm overcritical on Xbox, and I'm very passionate for Xbox because a brand that I really, really cherished, like I really supported, kind of is just going in all different directions. And I don't know if they know what they want to be. I don't know, but it is a roller coaster of a ride. And for somebody who has followed them for so long, the reason why I bring up a lot of the kind of the past discussions and the messages, same because the message has changed throughout the years. And it's kind of confusing as to what their future would be. And for me to be totally optimistic about their future, considering what have you done for me lately in your past, that's why I tend to be kind of critical with them. And the fact that they have been kind of chasing people away with some of their decisions and their production of games, and the expectations that you would have buying an Xbox console and being part of that ecosystem have varied greatly. And one of the things that's been in talking about for a while is the keyboard and mouse support coming to the console. Now, it is confusing, and it's confusing for myself as well, because I invested, and I not all blown hardcore gaming PC, build a rig, lights all over the place. I got a gaming laptop, and I set it in like a 980 Ti. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to kind of take my Xbox games on the go. And then they started giving Xbox Live features and stuff like that to the game. And then I'm like, well, wait, why am I paying for it on the console when I could do everything on the computer and play these games? And then they started doing day and date stuff. And I'm just like, it just kept saying the console was kind of, and then also too, having the S and then seeing these games run and look better on my computer. I'm just like, well, wait a second. It just seems like not only are devaluing the console, but also the gaming experience on that console with their games has also diminished, and they could be experienced better elsewhere and for less cost because you're not paying for subscriptions. Now, granted, I know some people's point to that. We have, you're paying for live anyway. It's just this thing. But when you see a company giving it for free somewhere else, and you're getting the same features that you could get if you're paying for it, come on. You got to be a fool to be like, well, I'm still paying for it because I just paid for it. No. And that's why somebody might say, like, well, why are you not critical? Sony's not doing this stuff. Sony's not making PC games. Sony's not releasing stuff day and date. Neither is Nintendo. So the reason why I direct this to Microsoft is because Microsoft's the one that's trying to lead the way and make a PC console unified market, while at the same time pretending or putting on a show for the console user, thinking that they're still important to them while they are going elsewhere with all their other shit. And that's where this mixed messaging comes about. It's like, is the Xbox a core of your gaming? No, it's not. Multiple interviews with Phil Spencer. The console is not the primary place for them to grow gaming wise. He wants the gaming industry to grow overall, which is wonderful. But you got to remember, you're also trying to sell a product. If that's not the focus of your company, then stop selling the product and just be for gaming overall, because it's a challenge when you're a competitor to other people, but you want to be friends with everybody. It's really challenging to do that. And we see where Sony, Nintendo's, they're not willing to put where's the Mixer app on those things. Crossplay just broke down on Sony, just broke down and did the crossplay thing. But they're still not allowing Minecraft stuff. Now, I doubt that'll probably be the last one on Sony's list to do crossplay. Rocket League will probably be the next one. But you can't do that when you're a competitor. You can't just be like, well, I want to be friends with you, because it could be a Trojan horse style. You know what I mean? Just like what they did with Minecraft on the Switch. Those are counted as Xbox users, and that gives engagement to make them look more successful and that they're better than their competition. It all makes sense. I understand the business of it, why they're doing it, and all this other stuff. It's just that if you are pro Xbox and focus just on Xbox, a lot of this shit is creeping into the game, and the expectations that you would expect buying a console vary. So what I have done is I've gathered some stuff, and what I wanted to talk about is the keyboard, mouse, and support for the Xbox. It's been in discussion for a while. They just announced it on Inside Xbox. They're partnering with Razer. Listen, Microsoft is not giving you keyboard and mouse support on your console to look for porn. They are doing it to play games. That's the reason why they partnered with the gaming thing. What's up, chat? How you doing, guys? I just popped it up. That's the reason why they're doing this. They partnered with Gaming Razer for this accessory. Their intent is to use this keyboard and mouse to play games on your Xbox. Fine. I don't have a problem with that. And I just think by, last night and stuff like that, we're playing Xbox and stuff like that, I get, yelled at and just I'm trying to make a statement that betters the Xbox community, that I feel if I'm an Xbox owner, I would want to remain an Xbox owner if these things are taking place. It's not for porn. No, it's not for porn. Unless you want to pay on a $200 keyboard and mouse setup, it's for games. But the thing is, I don't have a problem with it, even though it's kind of hypocritical of what he said 2 years ago as to why they were bringing games to PC and console, and the reason why PC and console exist, which I'll get into. The biggest thing is that they are leading this combination, right, of PC and console. And it works somewhat. Cross-play. Hey, I like playing those Xbox games on there. If you're going to give hand-me-outs on PC, I'm going to go with the lowest path of resistance. Just like nature. The least path of resistance. If you're going to be giving those games out on PC, they are optimized for PC. They work. They're part of Game Pass for $10, and the free services for online. I can chat with my friends and do all this stuff without paying a dime for a service of Xbox Live. That's where I'm going to go, and that's me. And I can imagine some people will do that. The thing is that when you are trying to lead this pathway of merging, if you believe that gaming is Windows and console, you better make sure it's your responsibility as a console manufacturer to ensure that it works and it's balanced. And the thing that kind of triggered me in this whole thing was Ybarra's tweet after Phil Spencer did this, where Ybarra basically stated, and Phil kind of mentioned it in his announcement of keyboard and mouse support on the Xbox, it's going to be up to the devs. And I shout out to Smooth. I know, he had his little best bot theory this morning. Yeah, it's good. Hey, I don't mean to trigger you, man. I just give my opinion. And that's how I feel about it. If I confuse people, sorry about it, but this is how I feel. This is not an act. I don't put on a show. This is honestly how I feel. You can't make this shit up. This is how I feel about this stuff. And as a passionate investment in this console and what I've done and the money I invested and seeing where it's gone, I'm confused as shit. And I just know that other competitors now are giving me what I want, the variety in games, the games, and not to say features and stuff like that, but being competitive and wanting my dollar more than another company. That's how I feel. But when you are releasing Thanks, Akun. When you are releasing and you're trying to merge two things together, you better have a game plan. You better have something that you better go on. You don't just put it up to devs. And we're going to show an example of when you leave it up to the devs. Currently, right now, without official keyboard and mouse support, right? Because remember when Microsoft did this whole like our games are PC, our games are going to console, there was this, oh no, you're going to have a keyboard and mouse. How's that going to work with control? And they're like, oh, no. We got it. I'll show you how they got it. And now they're releasing a keyboard and mouse on the console itself. And I mentioned this in my other show, the 50,000, 10,000 people lining up for FanFest. There are people that want keyboard and mouse. But you know, if there is one platform, PC would be the platform. I'm not a pro PC player. I don't play keyboard and mouse. I never did. I use controllers. I've grown up with the console stuff. And now when you can plug your stuff in, like, you know, plug your controller in and play. That's what I've done. But when you look at it, if you believe, why would the console exist if PC was the primary place to, like, was the thing, like one platform to play all games? Console differentiates from PC on the primary factor of the controller input. That is one of the largest differences between a PC, and especially with just casual people just thinking about it. You play keyboard and mouse, I play with controller. It's one of the big user interfaces, and Microsoft wants to merge these two together. And I'm going to show you right now on how this works. And you know what, Savage? I believe you. He says that I expect Microsoft to announce Age of Empires and Gears Tactics to be going to Xbox with this keyboard and mouse support. I think so, too. I was thinking the same thing because we haven't heard anything about Gears Tactics. I thought that was supposed to come out this year. And they announced it as a PC exclusive. But we haven't heard anything about it. And probably Age of Empires, which was another PC exclusive that has not made it over to console. And there are games that will come over to Xbox with this native keyboard and mouse support, I'm sure. But they also made that promise with UWP. We thought we'll be getting more PC games with this UWP. And what's interesting is that PUBG came over in preview program, but it's not in the Windows 10 store. So I don't know if it's using UWP. I guess it is if it's using Win 10, but we thought that these games were going to come over. We're going to get more PC games because of UWP. And it just shows that Microsoft's putting all the things in practice. Like they're putting all the options for the developers in there. The developers are just not utilizing them. This is the same thing that happened with Windows Phone. Microsoft put everything out there for them to develop an app for Windows Phone where like the install base is not that big, but that app could then convert over on our Windows 8 platform, or like you'll be developing for multiple platforms with just one shot. But the dev interest is not there. The developer mindshare, I think, has been the worst I've seen console-wise. Like you see with the Switch and how it was selling, how devs just started wanting to put games on the Switch. And you see all these third-party guys putting games on the Switch. And there was this interest and excitement in the development community. And if you remember the chart from a few months ago, or like I think 5 months ago, of what the developers' interest are, like VR, Xbox, PC at the highest, then it was like PlayStation, and then the Nintendo was growing, and Xbox was kind of the lowest of where people want to develop for. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that Microsoft has right now is trying to get the developers on board. I think another challenge they do is by them trying to do too much, it's too overwhelming to the developers. Instead of keeping it simple and develop for our console and maximize the potential of our console, they're throwing this PC stuff into it. They're throwing too much. They're throwing keyboard and mouse now, options, and it's too overwhelming for a developer to probably focus on this stuff. And they said it, on our State of Decay chat, it is multi-platform development. And, it would be nice. Look out like how a Spider-Man or a game comes out, they focus on one platform. Where State of Decay 2, they had to focus on PC launch and then Xbox launch, and they had to customize for all the variety. And he even said he had to downgrade game things from PC to form on the console, like it's multi-platform development. This is the problem. What's going on is that there's too many options, and the developer mindshare has dwindled, and Microsoft cannot get these developers on board. So what Microsoft is doing now is just basically spreading their legs open like a fucking whorehouse and just go, do whatever you want on our platform. We're an open platform. And I remember Smooth last night saying, like, Microsoft got criticized for the restrictions and stuff. Yeah. But when those restrictions are in the best interest of their consumers, they're not that bad. But when it's some bullshit where it's like, we want, you got to pay us this stuff to get us in the store and all these royalties and all this other shit, that's some bullshit restrictions that deters developers. But when Microsoft is making decisions for the best interest and uniformity in their console ecosystem, that's good for us. That's what you should expect as you are a paid subscriber. And I think when I say that, people get crazy and go, well, what are you paying for PlayStation? Well, you're paying for this. You're paying for a service. You pay for a service, you should get product for your service. What's up? How you doing, Meds and Jemiah? What's up, man? And Black Metal, what's up, man? You're paying for a service. Especially on the Xbox console. You are paying a subscription for this. So, where PC guys are getting your features for free within Xbox Live, you're paying for something. And I remember back when Xbox launched, with Xbox Live, it's like you must have Optimatch. You must have Quick Play. You have to have this. The 360, you must have a demo with all your arcade games. Every arcade game needs to have a demo so that they could see the quality and know what's going on. Now we don't have demos. Shit, PUBG was in preview. All preview games supposed to have trials. PUBG was the only one to have it, so they're breaking their own rules. The gamer needs to be in the best interest. Like Phil Spencer said, the consumer is the most important to them, especially the paid subscribe consumer. Then you better be doing things in their best interest. So when you are going to explore this PC console world that you believe still like they're the same people, which I tell you they're not. Like I prefer to play on console. I'll dab on PC to play some games and jump off. Like I'm not that person. And you could definitely see there is a dichotomy between PC and console gamer. There's some crossover, just like there's a dichotomy between a mobile gamer and a PC gamer and a console gamer. They are not all the same person. The person playing Panda Pop on their phone or playing some hardcore hardcore like shooters on like these puzzle games or these turn-based things on their phone. Like I got a friend that, he played Destiny 2 a little bit and he's never on the PlayStation. And all he do is consumed by this mobile game on the phone that all him and his friends play. There is some dabs into the other genres, but it's not the same gamer. You're not putting 3 hours on phone, 3 hours on PC, 3 hours on console. You have a preferred platform. And a lot of it has to do with the variation between all three of them is the input, keyboard, controller, touch. So if you're good with a controller, are you going to be good with touch? Like if you're great with analog sticks, are you going to be good with touch analog sticks? If you're great with touch, are you going to be good with a mouse and keyboard? It's a physical skill. And you're better on one thing and the other. That's why they're not the same person. The input device changes that. You could have the same game, but if you're you might be better at tapping and moving your troops than clicking with a mouse or using a controller. That's why when Phil says this shit about this one world, and it doesn't matter where you play, it fucking does matter where you play. You're going to play where you play best and what the input device that you utilize and you could dominate and be competitive with and have fun with and not be frustrated with controls. Remember, that was a whole reason why we had Kinect. Take away the controller. The controller is the barrier of entry. You give a person that doesn't play games and you hand them a controller, they don't know what to do with it. But you remove the controller and just have them use natural movements of their body, flail on their arms like a fucking crazy person. But you remove the input of the controller. Now it's a natural input. And now the barrier of entry is alleviated. That was the whole point. These require different items. And I think what Phil's trying to do is like, well, you could play on Xbox. If you're a PC and you dominate on keyboard, then you could play on Xbox. The problem is that you're not shipping that console with a keyboard and mouse. You're shipping it with a controller. The keyboard and mouse is an option. It's an accessory. Remember, if you don't put it in the box, people are not going to use it. If you don't put it in the box, people are not going to develop for it. Remember, hint, hint, connect. You put it in the box, they'll force developers to use it. But if it's not given, then you're not going to. If it's just an optional accessory, people are not going to develop for it, which goes to the point. If keyboard and mouse is not the primary input to Xbox, how many keyboard and mouse games do you think are going to come to Xbox? Or how many are they going to fucking shoehorn keyboard and mouse controller into to justify the $200 Razer partnership that they probably made? Just like they kind of shoehorned Kinect functionality because nobody was developing games for it. So they're like, you know what? Let's just throw Kinect features into this. They're going to have people throw keyboard and mouse features into it because they're trying to sell you a Razer accessory. This is the challenge that we're facing. And my thing is, I have nothing against keyboard and mouse support and options and, all that other shit that you might think that I'm just being picky on it. But I'm talking about as a gamer. And if you are a real gamer, and I'm not talking hardcore, I'm talking everybody. If you are interested in games, this shit should also is in all our benefit. I'm not trying to say, I don't go after people. I don't go like, you're an idiot for thinking like that, or you're a fool for believing like that, or you're doing ponies and you're doing Xbox and all this other stuff because you're a fan of whatever you're a fan of. And that's fine. I go at the messaging coming from the company and what the company is trying to sell a product because I'm a consumer. And you have to sell me this product or keep me interested in your product, or I'm going to look at competition, and that goes with anything. If you go to your burger joint and they just start making shit burgers anymore, you're going to be like, I'm not coming here anymore. You used to make good burgers. Now you make shit burgers. However, that place open across the street, it seems busy. They're doing better. Well, I'll come back to you when you realize you got to step up your game to match up the competition. And you leave. This happens with anything. Electronics, food, anything, services. If somebody's not giving you what you think you should be meeting your expectations, you're going to look elsewhere. And if somebody else is satisfying you, then you're going to go there and you're going to say, well, I'll come back to you when you decide on what the fuck you want to do. And that's how competition works. And Sony is obviously competing. The game downloads, they're like, shit, we're going to get match that with even a larger game pool. Crossplay, they broke down and did it. They didn't have to do it. And this is not like a hand-me-out, like, oh my God, they're heroes. But if we were looking at how complacent Microsoft ended the 360 generation and how Sony could have kind of just sailed into the sunset with this generation, it is scary shit that Sony is still making sure that nobody gets an advantage on them. And still doing that, because that is some crazy, we are so used to like, oh, they're going to get complacent. They're just going to ride it out. They're going to go. Even Sony has not even went casual. Like at this time at a point, these consoles will be going casual, like the party games, the family games, because all the hardcore people pretty much bought it up in the last 5 years. Now they're going to start going to opening up their market. Sony's giving hardcore games after hardcore games. They're not investing in party games. But we're going to come back to now the controller stuff. And this is the kind of things that I did. So Ybarra's basically said, and just like with the X, it's up to the developers. And we're seeing how many developers are supporting the X, right? How much power is left on the table. We are seeing with a lot of these X games that they are running at higher resolutions than the Pro. But when you come to performance-wise, the 4K mode is running either the same or worse than the PlayStation 4, which makes me go, why are you not dropping the resolution on the X? Same thing with PUBG. And I said this again 2 weeks ago. Why are you not dropping the resolution and keeping the graphical fidelity just to get the game to run decent? Why are we stuck at a 4K resolution and you're taking away graphical assets to make the game in a performance mode and run better? And you look at it, of all these games, 4K textures and tessellation and dixellation and acylation, how the fuck they're doing. But what the hell are we targeting? That's right, Trunks, because we need true 4K, right? Why? If your PC's running like shit, I'm not a PC person, but you're going to drop the resolution because that's the biggest improvement. You're not going to turn off half physics and dick physics and all this other shit. Like, you're going to fucking turn down the resolution to get the game to run better. So why are developers just forcing a resolution in the X, like brute forcing it, not optimizing the games, and taking away graphical features? What happened to the shadows, the textures, and all this other stuff? All it is resolution bumps. Yes, it's running at a dynamic 4K, and the highest it hits is 4K, and the PlayStation's running at it 1800p, and who gives a shit? And the thing is why are we all measuring? Why are we all dick measuring this resolution stuff? You're never gonna win. You're never gonna win. Hardware is always going to be beyond software. Software is going to take time to hit those resolutions. We'll be hitting native 4K consistently when 8K comes out. Shit, we weren't even hitting 1080p consistently and 4K came out. Like everybody said, I just want to. We should be playing 1080p 60 in all these games. Why are we chasing after 4K? And the thing is that this variation in power only mattered in the beginning of the generation. And now when it didn't matter, nobody was talking about stuff. And now it's like, well, we run better than you, but you're also $100 more. So I don't understand. Just stop with the resolution. That's not a win. It's the game that you're playing. And Frog was talking about this last night. It's like, just talk about the games. We don't talk about gameplay and screenshots. And just, if the game is good, the game is good. All of a sudden now a game is good if it's hitting 4K, targeting 4K. Yeah, I could target a $2 million house. Jez is targeting a $2 million house. $2 million house. That's good. I'm good. I'm targeting. Does that mean I'm living in a $2 million house? I'm targeting one. Dev is targeting 4K. Good job. You should target 4K. I would suck if you're targeting 720p. But like, enough. But they leave it up to the devs. And the devs are not optimizing the game for the console. And that's, remember when the Pro was coming out, like that list that came out, and it was like all these demands that Sony had, like you must support games on the PlayStation 4 Pro or the Neo when this releases. You must make sure that it has this. It must be this. It must be also work with this one. Like there was like a checklist of things like, you better make sure that this doesn't differentiate, is an even playing field. And Sony did that. And maybe as a market leader, you can do that kind of shit. Well, the Xbox is, the whorehouse, the brothel. We're giving you all this power, all these girls, like, do whatever you want. And they're making it a fucking freak show because it's all like fucking just like open up their legs, like, there we go. Fucking orgy. Thinking they're going to attract more devs being more open. You're fucking Windows, all right? You have a history of not being, like, history of just shit. Of, like, operating systems and Excel and Windows and all the blue screens of death. Like, you're Microsoft. Unfortunately, that shit's going to carry with you. You're not fucking Linux, okay? You're not Google. Google will run Windows if Windows was that great. Google, everybody does their own thing. Very few people use Windows. Everybody's like, Amazon's like, shit, we're using Google. We got our own version of Google. there's Linux. Mac has their own shit. Like everybody's like, shit, we're not like, jumping on that Windows bandwagon. Unfortunately, that's the what Microsoft carries. But getting into the controller stuff, and this is where I was alluding to, where the resolution and just being this open stuff, they're not maximizing the potential of the X. Because they're just saying, and then when they don't do it, they're saying it's the dev decision. Okay. You can't mandate 4K. You don't want to mandate this stuff. But yeah, Bing. Bing, motherfucker. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Bing, exactly. How successful? Exactly. How successful has Microsoft been with their shit? The Xbox was probably the most successful consumer device that they had. And they are now just putting it to the side and focusing on this kumbaya. PC and consoles are the same. And now the Microsoft bullshit, the Windows bullshit is all getting done into the console. The whole point of the 360 and the X was to be different than it. That's why it's so successful, because it didn't have that Windows stench to it. It was there, but it wasn't there. And yeah, that's right. Don't call me Danny. The Devil May Cry 4K 60 on the Pro is nice. Remember? Everybody think, 4K 60 only on the X because that's all they talked about. And now they're saying it's 4K 60 on the Pro. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be dynamic 4K. The devs are bullshitting too. There's going to be dynamic with the frame rate staying at 60. Enjoy. And I'll probably the Xbox One X will be more dynamic. Go pay an extra $100 for more dynamicness. Now we're coming to keyboard and mouse, what the topic of this whole thing is. And if you remember, I played this little clip from our good buddy, Phil Spencer, circa 2016. Let's listen. Let me fix this thing. There we go.
To happen to get to the point, I think, where using an Xbox and using gaming on a Windows 10 computer are essentially identical.
Yeah, I actually don't have a goal of making them identical. I think there is something unique about a console gaming experience in your family room, 10 feet away from the screen with a wireless controller in your hand, which is different than sitting in front of a PC with a keyboard and mouse and playing a game. But
what was that again?
Your hand, which is different than sitting in front of a PC with a keyboard and mouse and playing a game.
One more time.
About a console gaming experience in your family room, 10 feet away from the screen with a wireless controller in your hand, which is different than sitting in front of a PC with a keyboard and mouse and playing a game.
So we proceed now. So for the console player that's 10 feet away from their TV with controller in hand, now he's going to be sitting with a Razer keyboard and mouse on his lap. But he's not trying to make these the same thing. Really. And this is what I mean. I sit down and listen to this. I'm like, oh, that's good. Keyboard and mouse. No, I understand it. Two different people. You're going to give these games two different. I understand it. And then we talk keyboard and mouse coming to the Xbox. Now we're going to do some share screens. And this is where I'm going to wrap it up on this shit. So pardon the chat. We're going live on the share screens. I'm going to go through a couple of these articles that I was looking at about how this keyboard and mouse support is going to go and how it's currently going, right? Boo. So, what the hell I just clicked? There it is. Okay. And we gotta talk about the dates because stuff has been changing, So this is 2 years ago. You can see on my screen, right? All right. Microsoft will never force gamers to compete cross-platform, says Phil Spencer. Because this was the big concern. Remember, this was the message that Phil's like, PC and console, we're not going to force them. He says, the inclusion of this cross-platform, even Microsoft's own Windows Universal Platform and potential plans to make Xbox One upgradable, remember that whole thing, is making the line between PC and console fuzzier than ever. Despite this, Phil says that he wants to make sure there's differences between the platforms. Now, this is at Microsoft's build. He says, just because a number of games are coming to both Xbox and PC doesn't mean there will be any. And look at the date. The game released October 2016, and April was scrambling. April. This is not 2 years later. Like now. This is April. Shit was getting bad. So don't tell me that it's all good in the hood and go Xbox. Shit's not doing too hot. When Gears of War 4, that PC experiment is not working. But at least the developer put an option for the console user not to play with PC because of this inherent advantage of keyboard and mouse versus controller. But they slowly put it in the casual, and then they put it in the ranked because it was drying up. Now, remember what Phil said. I will never force somebody in our games who's using a controller mouse to play against somebody with a different control scheme. Right? Well, if you don't have to go too far, because leave it up to another developer, a Microsoft-owned one, our good friends over at Rare, who has still, I try to find the most recent post, to this day, has not allowed the option for Xbox owners to play just on the Xbox. They have forced PC players, if you go into this thing, Sea of Thieves comments, and we come back to this fucking game, cross-play is forced. And people go, get better, do all this stuff. People, and it's like, and if you just read this, it is a sob story. It is unfortunate if you are investing in a Microsoft ecosystem and into a game that you have to deal with this bullshit. This is the reason why you probably bought a console. You have to deal with this bullshit. They moved around and jumped around the galleon with such precision and ease that it seemed like they were lagging, appearing to reappear all over the place. They were fast. For PC players reading too much into this, it was not actual lag. I enjoyed the fight, but wanted to fight against them, and they obliterated myself and the crew. It's too much of an advantage. And this is just one recent post. There's a huge thing on here. And right now, here it is. No optional crossplay. People think that if they make it optional that the PC players will not be able to play. Because this experiment of Windows 10 Store and all this other stuff, PC players go, our shit's going to dry up. They're having a field day. They're like, oh, yeah, let's do keyboard and mouse. Let's go own some console players playing with their controller. One of the 5 billion different colors that Microsoft has sold. And this is it. If it was optional to crossplay with PC, Xbox players will switch it off. Crossplay is the future of gaming. No arguments here, but not in PvP-driven games, right? Because Gears of War launched with Horde mode. They should have their own input devices. This is from the forums. There's a lot. If you go back, there is all forums on this stuff about how it's forced crossplay with Sea of Thieves. Now, maybe they do an update in one of their friggin' random-ass updates. But Phil Spencer, and now they left it up to developers. So you see how the Coalition handled it. And now you see how Rare's handling it. But both of them have a similar thing. It just seems that they're trying to keep the PC market viable for their games. That's the concern that a lot of them have. They're just trying to keep their PC market viable because they're afraid that it's going to drop. Now, again, oh, yeah, let's go back to the chat here. What happened? Did I go mute? What happened? Oh, shit. Did you guys not hear me at all during that whole thing? Let's see. Oh, my God. You got to let me know. Did you hear all that stuff that I was saying? Or did you lose me here? I gotta go look. Oh, did you hear me when I was going through the shared screen stuff or no? Oh, no. I don't know. Okay. All right, cool. So when I was screen sharing, you saw that stuff? Or I have to repeat everything I just said? I'll do it quick if you need to hear it. Oh, shit. Really? The stream stopped at about 5 minutes? Oh, my God. Oh, shit. All right. Well, anyway. What I was saying. That sucks. Man, what I was saying is that Phil Spencer says that you're not going to do force crossplay. Gears of War, at first, did not have crossplay with Versus. They had it in just Horde mode. Then what happened is that they slowly added it in. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm going to say. So what I was showing was Gears of War started in Horde mode, right? They didn't have in Versus their forced crossplay. It was kept separate. It was only in co-op. Then what happened is that the PC players started having issues with not finding games. So what they did was they started adding PC players into the social playlists forcefully. There was no option here. Then what happened as of April, with that game released in October 2016, April 2017, shit was hitting the fan. They added a competitive crossplay playlist. The only thing that they did right was that they added an option for the console user to opt out of it. But the PC player base was drying up. They couldn't find games. So they threw them into the Xbox playlist. Now, fortunately, Coalition made sure that Xbox players could choose not to play with them. But you had to select that option. And then the biggest thing is now we come to Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves in that forum that I was showing is forced crossplay, and the PC players are owning. It's going on and on. That was the most recent post that I found. They've been going on and on and on about how there's forced crossplay, and the PC people are jumping all over the place, doing all this other stuff, and with accuracy, and it's not making the game fun. And they're afraid that if they give the option, this is what people are saying, the PC players, that if they give the console players the option not to play with PC players, that they are not going to have successful in finding games. And Microsoft is forcing this, and again, it seems like they're doing this to have a larger install base to play the game. Because remember, this system is combined. They're making these games combined, so they're trying to keep that install base high. Therefore, and I think if they give the option to switch it off, one party, the PC party, maybe is going to suffer, and that seems to be the common practice here. Is that Microsoft seems to be shutting down, like making sure that PC stays stable by throwing that shit into there, and they're forcing it in Sea of Thieves. And there's a huge topic on that there's no toggle to toggle it off in Sea of Thieves, and they don't want it for PvP. And there's all these things like get better and all this other shit, but Microsoft's forcing it in Sea of Thieves. Now, if they release an update that's going to change it, maybe, but you got to imagine that the install base is getting smaller and smaller as the time goes on, that if they implement this thing later on, it might just kill the PC install base. But we're seeing a common issue here with the Gears of War and also with Sea of Thieves. Now, this is Microsoft saying leave it up to the developer. Well, two developers are doing two different things, and these are Microsoft-owned studios. So you think that Ubisoft and all these other guys are going to, really make sure that they have a balanced and like a multiplayer focus with this keyboard and mouse support being introduced. If I'm making a game, you want the most people to play it. Why are you going to start with restrictive measures going, well, here's keyboard and mouse playlist and here's PC and here's control playlist? You already cut your install base in half, if so, at launch. And you say, well, what does it matter? Because this is the shit that Microsoft has introduced to the Xbox console platform. This is their doing. Why are you complaining about it, Jez? Because this is what Microsoft, the problems and issues that Microsoft has introduced with this Play Anywhere, keyboard and mouse coming to Xbox. This is on them. This is what they did. And if you go back and look at those articles and stuff like that, I don't want to do it again because I might lose everybody. Sorry about that. But that was kind of a summary of what was going on, that Sea of Thieves is forcing crossplay, and there's disadvantages. And Gears of War slowly implemented crossplay eventually into ranked playlists, but they give the player on the console the option to opt out of it. However, the PC player does not have any option to play. And that too, buddy boy. Rare didn't implement a strong anti-cheat system, so PC players are finding exploits. I remember the aimbots early on in Sea of Thieves, and people using aimbots and sniping people from the crow's nest with the precision aim. If you want to do this, as Addict would say, as Gaming Addict says, fuck shit, and you want to bring PC and console, you better put your balls on the table. You got to deliver. All right? You better make sure this shit works. If this is what you want, Phil Spencer and Xbox crew, you better make sure this shit works. Because you introduced a problem that didn't need to exist. You decided to bring PC and console worlds collide. So now, with great leadership or great this comes great power, comes great responsibility. It is on you guys to make this shit work. Don't just dump it up to the devs. Oh yeah, dev will decide. We see about how haphazard this is. Rare's doing one thing, Coalition's been doing other thing, and it's ever changing. At first, they didn't put it in verses. Oh, no way, Jose. It's only in horde mode. It's only in horde mode. And then, as the PC player group dried up, they threw you in the console. They threw them into the console. And you, as a friendly console owner, goes, what the hell's going on? Why do I see PC things over people's heads? Is that what you expected when you bought a console and played Gears of War, that all of a sudden you see PC logos over their heads? Is the option front and center? Is it buried in the options to untick that you don't want to participate? Think about it. And why are you complaining? Microsoft needs, and then you get on the end of you got the paid subscriber. You got a guy playing Gears of War 4 on his PC. You got a guy paying $60 for Xbox Live playing Sea of Thieves, or $10 on his Game Pass, playing Sea of Thieves on his console. And that guy is exposed to this shit. And he's paying to play online on that console. And you got free PC guys jumping around doing all this crazy shit, cheating, or running around with extreme precision on their rigs, probably running at even higher frames, have such an advantage. And they're doing it for free. They're not even paying a dime. So who's the fool? Who's the one that's getting taken advantage of? And this is the reason why I have grinds my gears. Because Microsoft, in one side, say they care about the Xbox gamer, they care about it, but all their actions show that they don't. And that's why when I see these tweets about Xbox and FanFest and all this other shit, I go, this is all bullshit. It's all like politic PR bullshit. Your actions are not speaking with your words. It's coming out of your mouth. And maybe there's people out there that agree with me and all stuff, but that's how I feel. Don't speak to me I'm a straight shooter. I tell you what I see and how I feel. And maybe that's why some people can't understand me, because they're clouded with other things. I don't know. But this is how I feel about it. As a consumer that wants to give you my money, just like you don't shit on your customer. And Buddy Boy got a question here. Do you think there's a chance that the next Halo could be crossplay PC? Oh yeah, I think so. Because I'm going to tell you one thing. If there's any franchise that will just dominate and prove that that Microsoft belongs on PC, it's Halo. And you notice that is the only franchises they are withholding from PC. They put some Forge bullshit mode in it. But a full-fledged Halo, even the Master Chief Collection, which I think probably will come next year to PC, I bet you. After they get through this holiday, Master Chief will probably go to PC. That will be the explosion. And I'm going to tell you right now, if PC blows up and that becomes the primary Halo spot, bye-bye to Xbox. They'll still make a console, but they're going to see dollar signs if Halo blows up on PC. Now, I think the Windows 10 store is a challenge, but I think people will deal with that bullshit to play a Halo game, because that's the one thing that PC players have been aching for is the Halo. And if they put it on Steam, oh shit, all hell breaks loose there. But they know that. And it's sad. It's sad to see like the Xbox, like you think it'll be like that's where their focus is, man. If they drop Halo on PC, Master Chief, like it probably is going to blow up. And I'm afraid that when they see that go that way, they're just going to be like, yo, man, there are so many more people on PC. And you could see, look at how they're doing Gears of War and see if they're trying to sustain. They're trying to make sure the PC player has they're trying to cater to the PC player. Those are the people that are not paying for your service. You're catering to the PC player on Gears of War so they can find a playlist at the mercy of the paid subscriber on Xbox console. Why does nobody see this? And know why I think? Because I think that the Xbox install base of the Xbox is super small. I think if Microsoft was leading and was like the front runner on this whole thing, I think that a lot of this stuff would have came to the surface. But I think because right now Microsoft is where it is with the Xbox, like it's just like, we're fixing the bullshit that we did a few years ago, that this kind of stuff doesn't come to the surface because it's really like, it's not the lead in being there. And I think it's unfortunate because I look at it in its own world. I'm not looking at it relative to the competition. If you just look at Microsoft and Xbox at what it is, these are the criticisms that I have of it. I'm not saying these criticisms to promote another brand. I'm just saying I don't know what Microsoft's direction is. It is confusing. It is all over the place. They have changed their message a number of times this generation. They do not release any accessories that are worth a damn, like headsets and custom headsets, and they drop VR. They didn't even participate in VR. They're just releasing controllers at nauseum. No wireless chat headset, no Atmos headset, not like that stuff. They're not investing in services that are fun for games, like like I said, like an online casino kind of game with your new avatars, or 1 versus 100 with your avatars, or even the classic Xbox arcade where you could walk around in an arcade game and play all your emulated games. With all these retro consoles coming out, the 360 had that retro arcade where you could play Pac-Man and Centipede and walk around in a virtual arcade and play. And your collection was presented that way. These are some cool ideas. This is not saying that this is going to change the world, but these are the little things that they could be doing to make Xbox exciting again. And XO18, maybe they will. I think they're going to announce a game I don't understand the excitement for buying studios because we have seen them and how they've run studios. And when you're buying a studio and shopping around on IP, we're not talking a year or so. We're talking years. And who even knows what? And this is where I try to explain. When you go, oh yeah, the Microsoft games are going to be awesome, like in 3 years when they come out, 2020 and 2 years and 20. Who knows what the market will be? What will be the new hotness? Last year, Battle Royale became the hotness. What happens if it all of a sudden becomes flying games? You know, like who knows? Maybe somebody makes a crazy game with planes. I don't know, and that blows up. The gaming market is very dynamic. And for you to sit here now and they're talking about hiring people to make something, they're in concepts. Who knows that they're in concept stages? The thing is that it's so early. And what have you done for me lately? And Forza, excellent game. We knew it was going to be excellent. Forza 3 was excellent. They couldn't hurt it. But again, it's still Forza. Where is the innovation? Where is the fun? And like I said, it doesn't have to be blockbuster games. It doesn't have to be these $5 million, billion-dollar game things. They're little things to show that Microsoft is still fun. And like I said, for XO18, if you either have something or you don't. But stop going on a tease and then going on the one tease to tease another tease, and then it winds up being PUBG behind the curtain. Like, come on. That we've been through this. Or tease Halo news and show me the Halo at Dave & Buster's. Like, just like stop with the teases. Just drop news, all right? Don't let people hold on to their hats. And like I said yesterday, like everybody was talking E3. They thought Booty was going to come out. They were going to announce all these games. They're going to say, here's the stuff that people that my studio's working on. Meanwhile, that never happened. And E3 was like they bought studios. They regained confidence. Oh, Gamescom, they're going to probably show some stuff. They showed all multiplats. Oh, but wait, after that was a disappointment that like, oh, you know, after that Inside Xbox at Gamescom and all PUBG controllers and bundles with stickers on boxes. Oh, no, there's another event coming in October. Wait till October. Like, you either have something or you don't. And what's amazing is that they have Ashen, they got Crackdown, they have Battletoads that they never showed. Like, they have opportunities to show these games, and they choose not to. Like, I don't understand it. Are these games just not ready? And I don't know if 2 days in XO18 is going to be enough to redeem Crackdown to what it is. And if they don't have multiplayer demos of Crackdown and they just got Terry Crews running around and everybody's like, where's the multiplayer? Maybe they announced a multiplayer beta. I have no clue. But, you know, we're sitting here right now and it's just teases upon teases, keyboard and mouse support. We love our Xbox fans. We're giving you keyboards. Tell me if that's not mixed messaging or not. I'm so proud to announce that XO18, we love our Xbox fans. We love our Xbox fans. Here's Gears Tactics. PC only. Okay. Like, what do you want to be? And that's where I come from. That's my issue with this whole thing. And why I'm angry about it is because it's frustrating. It's annoying. And I just don't understand when I have criticism about this shit. It's like, oh, well, but PlayStation does this. Fuck, I'm not talking about the fucking PlayStation. And I'm sorry. I cannot get fucking mad right now because they are giving me games that I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. That I look back at playing Xbox and I'm like, you know what? I don't know. Can Microsoft make something like this? What would Microsoft do with a Superman, with a Spider-Man IP? Would they give him fucking web boxes? I don't know. Will they give him some service? I don't fucking know. Would they throw some more Windows bullshit? Or would they just make an amazing game for the character and do the character goodwill and make it their own unique story? Would they do that? I don't know. And it just seems that two companies, Nintendo and Sony, respect their IPs, respect telling a story, respect gaming as a medium of art, where Microsoft looks at gaming as a way of business. And I know they're both businesses, but Microsoft's practices of making it a business, of service, of pay, and their shit just floats to the top more because it's much more obvious. Sony says, here's a fucking Spider-Man game. There's no loot crate. Yeah, we got DLC. Okay, fine. But there's no like services coming or like, here's the game. God of War had no DLC. Do you know if Microsoft had that, they would be milking Sea of Thieves in September. They're still talking Sea of Thieves. The fucking Volcano Islands got delayed. They come out today. If they had God of War, what would Microsoft, they would make fucking Atreus DLC. They would say, hey, you want your kid? You got to go pay for him. For some reason, I have that feeling. It's not an art. They got to get respectful. And maybe those studios they bought, maybe hell, Ninja Theory and stuff like that. You know, Ori and the Blind Forest is a perfect example of gaming as an art, and even Cuphead too. So maybe they're going to do that. But what they need to do that also with the big games. And they got to come out with big games that do the same thing that those little games are doing. And get all that Microsoft Windows bullshit. The child support pack. Yeah, you need a sidekick in your game, go buy your son. He'll jump around with you. But like, you need to have that kind of storytelling and that kind of respect for your IP. And this is the thing. We've been listening for years. Since Phil Spencer came on in 2014, he was like, I'm bringing back IP. I want to bring back this. I want Rare is a great company. Let's bring back all its IP. I'm going to make our studios. He was the head of Microsoft Studios. And I don't understand. Since he moved on from Microsoft Studios were at its weakest. They never found the replacement, or the replacements that they found for Phil came 3 years later with Matt Booty. 4 years later. Like, he ran the studios. He ran the games division. He ran 343. He ran the Lionhead. He was head of studios. And how could, when he is president, he's head of Xbox, how can the studios be the biggest weakness under his regime? Explain that to me. You ran all the studios. And under your leadership, and I got to agree with Zaire on a couple of these things. Under his leadership, the studios have done the worst. And now people will tell you, oh, it's Terry Myerson. It's Santa Claus. It's the money. Satya didn't believe in money. He didn't believe in the games. Then Phil, knocked kicked down the door and said, you know what? I don't give a shit. All I do is I see what I see. And the guy who ran the studios is now the president. I'm expecting that to be the priority because that's what he knows. First-party studios. First-party games. Now he's the head of Xbox. You think that will be, man, that's the number one point thing because that's what I know. And it's been the worst. And we're still in it. And we don't know what the future is going to bring. So if you have optimism, fine on you. No criticism on you. But you got to look at what's in front of us right now. And yes, we don't want to trash on it and make it. And I think a lot of the fear is that you don't want to talk about the bad stuff that Microsoft does because I feel like people get defensive because they think that's going to show an influx of just like the Sony guys coming out there. But the thing is that you cannot not say it. These are not lies. This is not hyperbole. This is what's going on. And this is at least how I feel about it. So I don't mean to, get people upset and freak out. But if your beliefs are causing you to do that, then you need to check yourself and say, why are you doing what you're doing? Is it for people? Is it to be liked? Is it to be defensive? What is it? Because this is how I feel. And if anybody challenged me on it, I would have, this is how I feel. Somebody's giving, a competition is giving me something better than the other one. I would like the other one to compete back. And I just don't know where they want to go. And like I said before, if you want to be beneficial for gaming, then stop being competitive with the console. Because you cannot be two things at once. You cannot be kumbaya, everybody's going to be with me, when you're staring down competition and you're releasing numbers and competition numbers. You can't. You can't walk on a football field and go, you know what, guys? Yeah, we got a football team lined up right here. We just don't want to play the game. It's good for football. Let's not play. But it's like, just say we won. Well, I'll just say you won. It's like, but we want to compete. Oh, yeah, it's good for football. Let's not play. I don't want to do this. Let's not play. You cannot be holistic and be biased. Like, you cannot have an investment and compete with. That's why they want Mixer. Oh, well, let's not say a Mixer is part of Microsoft. Do you see Mixer on anything else? Do you see people streaming the Switch and all that? No. Amazon bought Twitch. Twitch is everywhere. But Amazon is not a player with the consoles. They don't have an Amazon gaming console yet that's going to compete, because I bet you, and if they did, I bet you they would make Twitch the best it can be on their console and make the other ones not as bad. They're not as good, because they're going to be competitive now. But right now, they're not doing, like, right now they're not in the game. You cannot have a player in the three-legged race and just be like, you know what, I don't care who wins the race. Well, then the other two are going to be like, see ya at the finish line. We'll see you at the finish line. And then Nintendo and Sony are going to go racing to the end. And Microsoft will stay at the beginning going, I don't care if I win or not. Okay. If that's the case, then don't even participate in the race. Just sit back and be a spectator. And that's where the frustration comes. What do you want to be? You want to be a competitor, or you want to be good for gaming? If you want to be good for gaming, your best bet is to get out of the competition and really just put your stuff everywhere and focus on your services, your games, and that's it. Because you're telling your console base one thing and not satisfying them and making them pay and making them get infrastructure from Windows and keyboards and all. Let them get hit with all that stuff, because you want to explore other areas, because you see finances, you see money in PC, and you see money in gaming in general on mobile. So do it then. I just can't take the double talk. And that's probably the thing that gets me the most is just the double talk. But I want to wrap it up, guys. Anybody have any questions? Let's see. Yeah, Danny said about Battletoads. Yeah, maybe they'll show that at OX18. Battletoads need more than a GIF. I know. They just showed the logo of Battletoads. And from what I heard, I don't know if it's from the logo, but it looks like it's a 2D, like, kind of remake of the first one. Which, I would prefer a new Battletoads, because that first one was kind of hard. And, if they're just going to give it a coat of paint, it would be nice if it was a brand new, like, platformer, because that would be cool. Because you saw Ori did as a platformer. Battletoads would be cool. But anyway, I'm going to shut it down, guys. I want to thank you very much. It's been Grinds My Gears. And I will shout out to all my grinders out there. You got a bonus episode and, talking about this stuff. Again, keyboard and mouse support is great, but with great power comes great responsibility. And all I'm asking is that Microsoft stays consistent and make sure that it works on their platform. And that's what they need to do. But I appreciate you guys hanging out there. Sorry for that thing in the middle. where I was doing my, the screen share, but, you can look at those articles and stuff like that. Maybe I'll just put them in the link. I'll put them in the description below, the links of those articles. But, yeah. But thank you again for coming out. Hit the like button, share out the video, and, check out my other ones, because I did talk about, the Nintendo Online stuff and also, too, the classic stuff of the PlayStation Now and the PS Classic and, things like that, which, hey, keep doing it. That's beneficial to us. The gamers win. We just keep getting more stuff. And, competition is good, as I always say. Just everybody needs to compete. Can't have two competing and the other one not doing too much. But thanks again, everybody. I'll talk to you guys later. And Jez is out.